Welcome everybody to the 2020 Mini Cooper S. Today, this is a proper bucket list experience for me. I have always loved the Mini Cooper, and here in the S configuration, we've got the hot one, a 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder engine with 189 horsepower and 221 pound-feet of torque. 2020 doesn't bring along any major revisions, but this generation came out in 2014 and there were some significant changes for 2018. So let's get inside and talk about what those changes are, talk about the exact model that I have in front of me, and then take the Cooper S for a drive to see what it's like on the road. So this generation of Mini Cooper, the third version under the ownership of BMW, comes in either a 3-door or 5-door configuration. The biggest differences that you're going to notice with the 5-door is how much space you're going to have in the second row of seats. Of course, having that door is going to be easier to access, but with the extended wheelbase, you'll have more room back there too. Going from a 3-door to a 5-door is about a $1,300 upcharge, and for the 3-door it's available as the Cooper, Cooper S and the John Cooper Works, but for the 5-door you can only get as a Cooper and Cooper S. So some of the changes that came along in 2018, there's more standard technology and more available technology. The differences that you see on the outside is that the S badges themselves are a new design, and the headlights and the tail lights are totally different. You can see that they're Union jacks in the rear, very cool, and the front lighting system is incredibly bright. They're actually LED matrix lights. The other big change was the transmission choices, but I'll talk about that a little more when we're driving along. Someone that's tall like me, it's surprising how you get into a car with such a small footprint as the Mini Cooper, but I don't feel cramped inside. Headroom is pretty good. We have some thigh extension here on the front seats, which is absolutely essential for tall drivers. And I feel very comfortable in this seat. So driving it on long distances or just in-town cruises is incredibly easy. So let's now take this Mini Cooper for a drive, as it's something I've been wanting to do for a very long time. So put our foot in the brake and then engage the toggle mounted start-stop. And let's hit the road. Let's start off with a kind of nerdy detail about the new 2020 Mini Cooper. In 2018, they had a bit of a refresh when it came to the transmission choices that you could get in the Cooper and the Cooper S. The JCW model stays the same, but with all of the models, a 6-speed manual transmission is your starting off choice, and then you add the automatic transmission to it if you want 2-pedal driving. But with the JCW, that carries over the 6-speed automatic transmission, and the Cooper and the Cooper S get a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. This is a transmission type that is going to become a lot more prevalent in so many cars in this sort of price bracket. Originally, DCTs, as we will abbreviate them as, dual clutch transmissions, were reserved for high-end performance cars. The DCT has its place in those kinds of vehicles for downright performance and the ability to have very quick shifts. But when it comes to in-town driving, a lot of those systems can suffer, as you shouldn't creep slowly in a dual clutch transmission. If you're in stop and go traffic, it wears down the components, and along with that, it's a very jerky, unsettling motion that you get, always struggling to make a consistent and smooth movement forwards. But Mini has been able to refine the dual clutch system so that driving in town, like what I am now in pretty low speed, feels exactly as it would in a traditional torque converter automatic transmission. There's a lot of merit to this new transmission. You'll be able to tell it's a 7-speed dual clutch by the new transmission shifter that we have inside of the Mini, and the driving modes have been taken away from the ring that was just below the shifter and now is a toggle switch. You still have green, mid and sport. With the dual clutch in green modes, depending on what speed you're going, the engine and the transmission can decouple. This significantly improves fuel economy, as you'll see with the TAC, where you're hovering at idle, usually with 1500, 1600, something like that in the RPM range, it drops down to 1000, and that's when you can tell you've engaged the coasting function. The go-kart dynamics of a Mini remain true no matter the driving mode, however. It feels tightly bound together. Feels like it's locked down into the road the same way a train is locked into its train tracks. And the steering has wonderful heft to it without being too difficult to manage for in-town driving like what I'm doing right now. But getting on an open road, exercising this 2-litre twin-scroll engine is a joy. So that wraps up a very quick look at the 2020 Mini Cooper S. I absolutely adore this vehicle, and I'm so happy I've finally been able to tick that box on my bucket list and taken this car for a proper drive. If you want to test drive this exact vehicle or all of the other new 2020 Minis, head over to MINI Calgary.